Hi, welcome to a special episode previewing our upcoming new show, Technically Zen. It's a new podcast series created for the government technologist. I am Amy Kluber, editor-in-chief at GovCIO Media and Research, and this show will be a little bit different than our usual programs. What I'll do today is introduce the voice behind the upcoming show and give you a little bit of a window into her world. She's a woman in technology and cybersecurity, and as she will go further into, working in technology is both rewarding and challenging. It's constant, the stakes are high, and like any other workplace, you can face the same stressors like anybody else. Just like our other programs, the show will connect with the leaders and movers and shakers in technology while getting further into leadership, resilience, well-being, and building a sustainable career in tech. The host of the series, she goes by JoJo D, or also known as the Chaos Guru. She is a longtime technology and cybersecurity leader. I recently caught up with her to learn a bit more about this area and why it matters so much to her and her peers like you. So let's go into that talk now and get a taste for what's ahead on this new show. Now, a moment of Zen with JoJo D. JoJo, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me today. I'm really excited to be here.
So for listeners just tuning in, meeting you for the first time, who is the Chaos Guru? Where did that name come from?
Sure. So first of all, I would like to say I'm a mom of three amazing kids. They're now 8, 11, and 14. So as you can see, I have a lot of chaos going on just right there, but I'm also an author, a public speaker, been in the technology and cyberspace for over 25 years, and a dance director as well. So as you can imagine, there's been a lot of chaos in my life growing up, but also just in the space I'm in my career, and just navigating a lot of chaos in my personal life. So I thought, why not use all the lessons learned that I've encountered over the years. And also in the wellness space as well. So I'm also a wellness coach and practitioner. There's just so much out there that we could all do to help ourselves lead from within. Because if we don't take care of ourselves, it's going to be really hard for us to be there for others in our life.
Absolutely. The whole focus on sort of well-being and mental health is untraditional to the technology space. So what really inspired you to kind of look at that intersection?
Sure. So I always tell my story of my third child that was born. I was under the unfortunate care of an incompetent OB that left me paralyzed for almost a year, and couldn't really move much. And of course, if you go to Western practitioners and medical practices, they just kind of want you in and out. And I was told I needed multiple other surgeries without any sort of guaranteed resolution. So that was my turning point. I knew there had to be another way. So, and when you seek, the answers shall come. So I started putting myself out there, started asking questions, started reaching out to just friends and family, letting them know that, hey, this is what's going on, which is unnatural. And this was my third. So I thought I knew what I was getting myself into. And lo and behold, I was introduced to a lot of different natural alternative modalities and practices like Reiki, just like a Japanese energy healing modality, and EFT tapping. I could go on and on, but within that 6 weeks, I was given 6 weeks to live by the Western practices that said, if you don't get these additional surgeries, there's lots of complications that could happen, and then you pretty much only have 6 weeks. So I took that 6 weeks, and I told myself, okay, there has to be another way, and I will find it within the 6 weeks. If not, then I'll just go back and get the surgery. But lo and behold, within the 6 weeks, I was able to find Reiki as well as Chinese traditional medicine, and just a whole mindset change that really helped, and was able to get past that mark successfully. But then it took me a good 3 years to fully recover and get into a more optimal health space. But I didn't want to keep all of these great modalities to myself. So I got trained in some of these modalities and I opened up my own wellness practice. But even then, I wasn't satisfied because, I was in the technology, cybersecurity space in my career. And then I was also getting into wellness and I wanted to find a way to merge both of these worlds together. So I started bringing the wellness space to cybersecurity and technology. And as you know, started speaking at wherever I had a speaking arrangement, really focus on the human side, the mental health, the wellness. And here we are today. We're partnering together on this podcast to really drive the awareness and also help people understand that it's okay to talk about these things and we don't have to all be focused just on the technical side of our careers.
Absolutely. You mentioned sort of introducing this in your practice or at work. Has there been any sort of feedback with the your teammates or this in the workplace? How did that sort of look like? What has the feedback been?
Yes, so I'm a firm believer that if you don't see someone else doing something, or if you see no one doing something, you could always be the first person to start. And you may not be the person to change the world, but you can definitely be the catalyst to start that change. So I know when I first brought it up, I had the privilege of having great leadership that was open to something like this, provided that I still stuck with my day job and did that successfully. But people are looking for things like this, and for someone to do things like this. They might not voice it, but when they see someone doing it, then it really does help others also be able to talk about it and also join in on these programs. So initially I was the only person there that started the program. I was doing all the wellness workshops myself, and creating all the flyers and the awareness myself. But then little by little, I started getting other people that wanted to volunteer, and now it's a fully fledged running program. And we even had other partners in the industry partner with us to do workshops as well, which is great.
That's awesome. For it to even become like a full-fledged program is a feat in and of itself, especially when you're, kind of thinking about the technologically focused organization. How has there been, do you feel like this is kind of new, a new approach to things? Has anyone done this before? Who has been sort of like your influencer, if anyone?
Sure. I don't believe, I could be wrong. I don't think there's anybody else doing this. I started
So it's a
about 8
first.
years ago. My youngest is now 8, almost will be 9 next year, early next year. So it's always a reminder to me just how far along that I've come. But I started talking about this before COVID, and people would just look at me like, okay, I don't know what she's talking about. It's an interesting perspective. But through COVID is when people really started realizing how important your own mental health, emotional health, physical health, and your energy, like, and how everything that you feel within you is how important that is. So, I wrote a book during the pandemic called Chaos Loves You, so let's love it back. Just because of the need, people started asking for more and more of this space. So I think now we're starting to really get some more momentum behind this. I have been to some conferences where they had mentioned how it's important for us to focus on wellness. I'd love to see more and more of that happens. Just like how we started talking about bringing in diversity into the technology field, and no one was talking about that 10 years ago, but now we see more and more conferences and events that are really focused on like women and other diversity. So I feel like hopefully things start picking up on the wellness space as well.
Absolutely. So, sort of being that catalyst for change in a way, you're kind of modeling what change you want to see in the workplace for people who are stepping into your shoes too. So I want to get into the Technically Zen podcast. This upcoming podcast, super excited to be working on it with you. What do you want listeners to take away from the show?
One, I wanted to have a psychologically safe space for women and men, and really anyone to come and speak and just be open and allow themselves to feel vulnerable and not be afraid. Because I think we do need to get our stories out there. And if I hadn't shared my story with the public, yeah, I would not have known about all of these great modalities out there, and also just great people, and just how much we have to learn in just in the universe. So one, I'd like to create a safe space for all the guests on the podcast to express themselves, and also just to talk freely, naturally, and to really invite anyone that's willing to do that. You don't have to be in the technology and cyberspace. Just because I've been there, that doesn't mean that you have to be. But I think all of us can really talk to our what do we face? What are all the types of chaos that we face on a daily basis? And what can we really do to focus on our own inner strength, courage, to ensure that we're prioritizing ourselves over anybody else. So it's just really a conversation. This is not one of those forums or events where there's formal interviews. It's just having that, creating that space. Hopefully we will produce some golden nuggets, as I call it, that really can be applied to anyone in any space that they're in.
That's fantastic. So when you thinking through some of the guests who you will have on the show, how can you, I guess, describe who some of those guests might be, or their backgrounds, or what a model guest would look like for listeners of this?
I feel like as leaders, whether you're a leader in the technology or cyberspace, or if you're a leader in a different industry, like we face the onus and responsibility of not only making sure we are in a good place that we can be there for our teams, but also, as you mentioned earlier, be that role model and be that leader that really focuses on the people and on the human side of things, and is out there making a difference for our teams. So I feel like technology, cyber leaders, but also emerging leaders as well. So it would be great to hear their pain points and the chaos that they face when they're aspiring to be a leader. And because we could all learn from each other in the space.
Awesome. So you mentioned having sort of a golden nugget for listeners. Is there a golden nugget for us today? Something that you learned that you think someone can take away from this interview to integrate into their lives now?
So let's see. If I had to choose one, I think I'd go back to what I said earlier about not being afraid to be the first person to do something or to be that catalyst. I know a lot of times we look for, let's see if somebody else has done it and we'll just kind of follow them, or let's see if the organization has something in place and we'll just do that. But sometimes all it takes is just to ask for what you want and what you want to do. And if you don't ask, you already don't have it. So you might as well ask, especially if you're really passionate about something, going out there, asking for what you want, and making a difference in the world. Because again, you might not be the person that changed the world, but you could always be a person that starts and can be the catalyst to create a positive change in the world.
Absolutely. Well, that's very well said. I'm looking forward to hearing more from these interviews and seeing how they can help other technologists in this industry.
I'm excited as well. So, if you are all interested, please contact us. We're happy to have you as guests on the podcast.